Okay, so now we're gonna add shading to it. Now, if you're doing this at home, you're still gonna do the same idea, but you're just gonna do it with a regular pencil. Okay, but first we're just going to trace our lines because we really want to have a nice bold outline. So like this part, I'm going to trace this. Okay, and you're going to really press to really make it show up. I'll zoom in just a little bit here so you can see better what I'm doing. I know you can still see some of my pencil drawing. That's fine. You won't even notice it once we kind of add more shading. So unless it's like, you know, a lot, I won't worry about it. So with these, like this, these color pencils, you have to like really not just press hard, but kind of keep going over them as well if it's like not wanting to like go on here. Okay, so you really want to lay down a lot of the white to really make it pop against the black background. Okay, so it should be more obvious that this looks different than just the regular pencil. And then once you start outlining this, okay, so I'm just doing this one section right now, then you're going to take from the line and you're just going to extend it a little bit more on the sides. Okay, and then using less pressure as you get kind of closer. So you want to leave some of the black. You don't want to get it all, like completely take it away. So if it's still like not really bolding, like right there, it's not really wanting to make it a really nice bold white. I'm just gonna go over here and kind of shade it in. Okay, so that way it kind of looks more like 3D, kind of have the highlights and leaving the black of the paper for the shadow. So it's going to do over here. So I'm just extend like this white area and then just do a softer white and leaving like basically like this part right here that's still black, that's just the black paper and leaving it alone. So you're able to create shading like really easily with just, you know, pressing really hard to make the really white areas and then just a softer, like softly right through here. So that way you have like that kind of a grayish mid-tone, and then you leave the black paper for the shadow. Okay, so it starts kind of creating a 3D effect just with that simple part. Okay, so that's all you're going to do for each of these sections. So I'm going to kind of like break it up into sections. You know, you're just going to, again, trace like the lines that you have. Just make sure I'm like really pressing so that way you can really see the white. Okay, sometimes you might have to go over again a few times to really, the white has to kind of build up on the black paper a bit. Okay, and then from there, you know, as you're going through, then you're just going to shade it in some more. And there might be some areas you might want to color in a little bit more, like right here, I think I should color in just a little bit more, like along the edges, because these have more width here, and where it gets like skinnier, you don't have as much room, so you don't have to color in as much. Okay, so just a little bit, so just a little bit of color like that. So like here. The same idea. So if you think about each section as its own, like every little section that you drew out, you're kind of just filling in with like a white, and you're just lightly coloring a little bit in and leaving some black. And if you accidentally color in like all of it, you can always take an eraser and erase some of that back out. Like through here, I can erase some of this when I get some more of that black to come out. So it erases pretty easily. It's not going to erase everything, but it will help kind of get some of those darker like tones in there. Okay, so you're going to keep doing that for the rest of it. So I'm not going to keep going over the whole thing for that part because that's the same idea. You're just going to finish doing that. And then for the cone, that's what I want to go over next. I'm just going to move that up a little higher so you can see that part. For this part, it's pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I'm starting, you can see I colored in mostly on the ends, and then I did like that or you just color lightly to get some of the white on, and then leave this the black of the paper. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do here. So you're still going to want to outline and trace basically your lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace that. And you're going to want to, you know, elongate this part more than we did for up here, because those were smaller sections. This is a bigger section, so we're going to kind of make it fill up that whole area here. So I'm pressing really hard at first. Okay, we've done this similar with similar projects. And then you don't want it like a hard line. You just kind of want it softly, just coloring a little softer and softer until you're just gonna leave it the black of the paper. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on that side. And I guess the point where the middle part is the black of the paper. All right, so same idea for this part here, just on just a lot more narrow. Okay, so I'm not really going to go over that part. Okay, this is the last thing I want to talk about. And basically how I did it was the lines that I drew, I'm not tracing those. I'm like kind of tracing the area between the lines. Okay, I know that sounds kind of weird, but this is what I did. Let's just zoom in just a little bit more so you can see. Okay, so like there's this, it looks like a diamond shape. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm not tracing the line, I'm tracing the area inside of it. Okay, and then I just add a little bit of shading to it, so you want to see some black. Okay, and some areas may not want to make such a big line, like a heavy line like that, but I don't have much of a tip left on my pencil, so it's kind of what happens right now. So okay, so and then you're just going to just do a light coloring, again leaving a little bit of the black. Okay, so all I'm doing is just tracing the inside, like those diamond shapes that it's making, and there, because then it makes that effect where you can see the texture of the waffle cone. Okay, so this one gets cut off because that's like the top part of the cone, so you only have like a triangle shape left right there. So that's what you're gonna do, just whatever shape that I see through here, outline it and just add a little bit there. Again, if you accidentally colored in the whole thing, you can just erase some of it out, so that way you have a little bit of the black. Okay, because you don't want to, because having the shading, seeing the white and black, it kind of gives it that 3D effect. So you don't want to fill in the whole thing. Same thing if you're just using a regular pencil. Okay, you're just going to like kind of basically do the opposite. You're going to add in the shadows instead of adding in the highlights. It's the same idea. Okay, so then that's all you're going to do until you kind of fill in the rest of this. It's the same idea all the way through. So this part, you know, here where you see the pencil line, you know, if this is a little more pronounced, like I made this one darker on this one, so that way you guys can see it, but it didn't make it nearly as dark on here, so that's why you can't really see it, even though it is on there. All right, so that's all you gotta do, just keep going until you finish the whole thing and shade the whole thing until you get it to look like this.